Clear's approach is methodical and practical, breaking down complex psychological concepts into actionable steps. You'll learn about the 4 laws of behavior change, a simple yet powerful framework that can help you build better habits in any area of your life. These laws make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying, serve as a blueprint for creating a system where good habits flourish and bad habits wither away. One of the most compelling aspects of Atomic Habits is its focus on identity. Clear emphasizes that the ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of your identity. Rather than focusing solely on the outcomes you want to achieve, he encourages you to focus on the type of person you wish to become. This shift in mindset transforms habits from mere tasks to integral parts of who you are. When your habits align with your identity, they become self-sustaining and far more resilient to disruption. Throughout this audiobook, you will encounter inspiring stories of real people who have transformed their lives through the power of atomic habits. From Olympic gold medalists to successful entrepreneurs, these stories provide tangible proof of how small changes can lead to extraordinary outcomes. You'll also find yourself reflecting on your own experiences and how your habits have shaped your life. By the end of this journey, you'll be equipped with the knowledge and tools to reshape your habits and ultimately your destiny. James Clear's writing is not only insightful but also deeply relatable. He understands the challenges we all face in trying to change our behaviors and provides compassionate guidance to help you navigate these obstacles. His pragmatic approach is devoid of jargon and full of practical advice that you can start implementing immediately. Whether you're looking to improve your health, your career, your relationships, or any other aspect of your life, the principles in Atomic Habits will help you get there. As you embark on this journey, remember that the power of Atomic Habits lies in their simplicity and consistency. It's not about making radical changes overnight, but about making small, sustainable changes that, over time, lead to profound transformation. Each chapter of this audiobook is designed to build upon the last, creating a comprehensive guide that will help you develop habits that last a lifetime. So, get ready to explore the world of Atomic Habits. Prepare to uncover the science behind habit formation, discover the power of tiny changes, and unlock your full potential. This audiobook is more than just a collection of tips and tricks, it's a roadmap to a better you. Let the journey begin. The power of small, incremental changes often goes unnoticed in our daily lives, yet it holds the potential to transform our futures in profound ways. This concept was brilliantly demonstrated by the remarkable turnaround of British cycling, a story that serves as a compelling testament to the effectiveness of marginal gains. In 2003, British cycling was languishing in mediocrity. For nearly a century, British riders had achieved little of note on the international stage, with just a single gold medal at the Olympic Games since 1908 and a complete absence of victories in the prestigious Tour de France. The situation was so dire that some European bike manufacturers refused to sell their products to the British team, fearing that association with such underperformers would harm their brand. Enter Dave Brailsford, the newly appointed performance director who would change the course of British cycling history. Brailsford's approach was revolutionary. In its simplicity, he focused on making tiny, 1% improvements across all aspects of cycling performance. This strategy, which he termed the aggregation of marginal gains, was based on the belief that the cumulative effect of numerous small enhancements would lead to significant overall improvement. Brailsford and his team left no stone unturned in their quest for these marginal gains. They made obvious tweaks, such as redesigning bike seats for improved comfort and applying alcohol to tires for better grip. But they also delved into less apparent areas. They introduced electrically heated overshorts to maintain optimal muscle temperature, utilized biofeedback sensors to fine-tune workout responses, and even tested various fabrics in wind tunnels to create more aerodynamic racing suits. The team's commitment to this philosophy extended far beyond the bicycle. They brought in a surgeon to teach riders the most effective hand-washing techniques to reduce the risk of illness. They meticulously selected the best pillows and mattresses for each rider to ensure quality sleep. In a particularly striking example of their attention to detail, they painted the interior of the team truck white to more easily spot dust that could potentially impact the performance of their precisely calibrated bikes. The results of this approach were nothing short of astounding. Within just 5 years, British cycling dominated the 2008 Beijing Olympics, securing an impressive 60% of the available gold medals in cycling events. They continued this success at the 2012 London Olympics, breaking multiple world and Olympic records. Perhaps most impressively, British riders went on to win 5 Tour de France titles in 6 years, a feat that would have seemed impossible just a decade earlier. This remarkable transformation serves as a powerful illustration of a broader principle, the compound effect of small habits over time. It's a concept that challenges our natural inclination to seek out dramatic, overnight changes. We often fall into the trap of believing that significant results require equally significant actions. We dream of losing substantial weight, launching successful businesses, or achieving other lofty goals, and we imagine that these outcomes must be the result of singular, heroic efforts. However, the reality is far more nuanced and, in many ways, more accessible. The British cycling story shows us that sustained, incremental progress can yield extraordinary results. When we consistently improve by just 1% each day, the compounded effect over a year is a 37-fold improvement. Conversely, if we allow ourselves to decline by 1% daily, we risk reducing our performance to near zero over the same period. This mathematical reality underscores the immense power of habits, both positive and negative. Good habits, like compound interest in finance, accumulate value over time. A single workout might not transform your physique, but a year of consistent exercise can reshape your body and health. Similarly, reading a few pages each day might not make you an expert overnight, but maintaining this habit for years can lead to profound knowledge and wisdom. The challenge lies in our perception of progress. Small improvements often feel insignificant in the moment. It's easy to discount the value of saving a little money, exercising for a short time, or studying a language for just an hour. The results aren't immediately apparent, which can lead to discouragement and a return to old, less productive habits. Equally insidious is the ease with which we can slip into negative habits. A single unhealthy meal doesn't cause immediate weight gain. Neglecting your relationships for one day doesn't instantly destroy them. Procrastinating on a project once doesn't immediately derail your career. But when these small negative choices compound over time, they can lead to significant problems. This principle applies across all areas of life. In personal development, consistently reading for 30 minutes a day can lead to dozens of books completed over a year, expanding your knowledge and perspective. In fitness, adding just one more rep or a minute more to your workout each session can result in substantial strength and endurance gains over time. In relationships, small daily acts of kindness and attention can strengthen bonds in ways that grand gestures cannot. The power of incremental change is particularly relevant in today's fast-paced world, where instant gratification is often prioritized over long-term growth. It's a reminder that true, lasting change rarely happens overnight. Instead, it's the result of consistent, small actions repeated over time. Moreover, this approach to improvement is inherently more sustainable than attempting drastic changes. Radical lifestyle overhauls often lead to burnout or disappointment when immediate results aren't seen. In contrast, focusing on small, manageable changes allows for gradual adaptation and increases the likelihood of long-term success. The concept of marginal gains also encourages a more holistic approach to improvement. Just as the British cycling team looked beyond obvious areas for enhancement, we too can find opportunities for growth in unexpected places. This might mean improving our sleep habits, refining our decision-making processes, or enhancing our learning techniques. It's important to note that while the focus is on small improvements, the mindset behind this approach is anything but small. It requires a commitment to continuous improvement, a willingness to experiment and adapt, and the patience to trust in a process that may not yield immediate, visible results. The story of British cycling's transformation is more than just a tale of sporting success. It's a powerful metaphor for personal and professional growth. It challenges us to reconsider our approach to change and improvement. Rather than always seeking monumental leaps forward, we can focus on consistent, small steps in the right direction. This doesn't mean we should abandon ambitious goals or stop dreaming big. Instead, it suggests a more practical path to achieving those aspirations. By breaking down our larger objectives into smaller, daily habits, we make progress more manageable and sustainable. In essence, the philosophy of marginal gains reminds us that excellence is not an act, but a habit. It's not about perfection in any single moment, but about consistent improvement over time. It teaches us to value the process as much as the outcome, and to find satisfaction in the small victories that pave the way to larger achievements. As we navigate our own journeys of personal and professional development, we would do well to remember the lesson of the British cycling team. Their success wasn't born from a single revolutionary change, but from a relentless commitment to small, continuous improvements. By adopting a similar mindset in our own lives, we too can harness the surprising power of atomic habits and marginal gains, transforming our potential into reality, one small step at a time. The journey of personal growth and achievement is often misunderstood. We tend to focus on immediate results, expecting our efforts to yield instant, visible changes. However, the reality of progress is far more nuanced and complex. It's not about where you stand at this moment, but rather the direction in which you're heading. Your current situation, whether favorable or challenging, is less significant than the habits and behaviors shaping your future trajectory. Consider this: a millionaire who consistently overspends is on a path to financial ruin, regardless of their current wealth. Their habits are setting them up for future hardship. Conversely, an individual struggling financially who manages to save even a small amount regularly is laying the groundwork for future prosperity. It's the habit, not the immediate outcome, that truly matters. This principle extends far beyond finance. Our lives are shaped by the cumulative effect of our daily choices and actions. Your current weight isn't just a number on a scale, it's a reflection of your eating and exercise habits over time. Your knowledge base isn't static, it's constantly evolving based on your learning habits. Even the state of your living space is a direct result of your cleaning and organizing habits. Understanding this concept is crucial because it highlights the power of small, consistent actions. Every choice you make is like a vote for the person you wish to become. Are you consistently choosing actions that align with your goals and values? Are you making decisions that will compound positively over time? These are the questions that truly matter when considering your long-term success and fulfillment. The compounding nature of habits works both ways. Positive habits can create an upward spiral of growth and improvement, while negative habits can lead to a downward spiral of decline. This is why it's so important to be mindful of the habits we cultivate. Let's explore some examples of positive compounding. Productivity, for instance, compounds in fascinating ways. Imagine completing one extra task each day. It might not seem significant in the moment, but over the course of a year, that's 365 additional accomplishments. Over a decade, it's 3,650. The impact becomes even more profound when you consider that each completed task often opens up new opportunities or frees up mental space for more complex endeavors. Knowledge is another area where compounding yields remarkable results. Reading one book might provide some interesting insights, but a lifetime habit of reading can transform your entire worldview. Each new piece of information doesn't just add to your knowledge base, it interacts with existing knowledge, creating new connections and deeper understanding. This is why lifelong learners often display a kind of intellectual compounding, where their rate of learning and insight generation accelerates over time. Relationships, too, compound in powerful ways. Every positive interaction, every act of kindness or support contributes to the strength of your social network. Over time, this can create a virtuous cycle where the more you help others, the more willing and able others are to help you. This network effect can lead to opportunities and support that far exceed the sum of individual interactions. However, it's equally important to recognize the danger of negative compounding. Stress, for example, can accumulate in insidious ways. A single stressful day is manageable for most people. But when stress becomes chronic, occurring day after day, week after week, it can have severe impacts on both mental and physical health. The effects compound over time, potentially leading to burnout, depression, or serious health issues. Negative thoughts are another area where compounding can be particularly harmful. If you consistently think of yourself as incapable or unworthy, you're likely to interpret events in ways that reinforce these beliefs. This can create a self-fulfilling prophecy, where your negative expectations actually shape your reality. The same principle applies to how you view others. If you habitually see people as untrustworthy or hostile, you're more likely to notice and remember instances that confirm this view, further reinforcing your negative perspective. Even societal issues can compound. Major social movements or upheavals rarely spring from a single event. Instead, they're often the result of numerous small grievances and injustices that accumulate over time. When a tipping point is reached, the built-up tension can explode into significant social change. Understanding the compounding nature of habits and choices is crucial, but it's equally important to recognize that progress is rarely linear. This is where many people stumble in their pursuit of personal growth or achievement. They expect to see immediate, consistent results from their efforts, and when this doesn't happen, they become discouraged and may give up. The reality of progress is often more like the melting of an ice cube. Imagine a room at 25 degrees Fahrenheit with an ice cube sitting on a table. As the room slowly warms, nothing visibly changes with the ice cube. At 26 degrees, 27, 28, and so on, the ice remains solid. It's not until the temperature reaches 32 degrees that a dramatic change occurs. The ice begins to melt. This sudden change wasn't caused by the final degree of temperature increase alone, but by the accumulation of all the previous increases. This analogy perfectly illustrates how progress often works in real life. You might be working consistently towards a goal, exercising regularly, learning a new skill, building a business without seeing any noticeable results for a long time. This period of apparent stagnation is what we might call the valley of disappointment. It's the phase where your efforts seem to be making no difference, and it's where many people lose heart and give up. But just like the ice cube, all that work isn't wasted. It's building up potential energy, creating the conditions necessary for a breakthrough. When that breakthrough finally comes, it might seem sudden or unexpected to outside observers. They might call it an overnight success, not realizing the months or years of consistent effort that led to this point. This pattern shows up in numerous areas of life and nature. Consider the growth of bamboo. For the first 5 years after planting, bamboo shows very little visible growth. But during this time, it's developing an extensive root system underground. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, it can shoot up 90 feet in just 6 weeks. Without understanding the process, one might think the bamboo grew 90 feet in 6 weeks, when in reality, it was growing for 5 years and 6 weeks. The same principle applies to many forms of personal and professional growth. Learning a new language, for instance, often involves a long period where you feel like you're not making progress. You're learning vocabulary and grammar rules, but you still can't converse fluently. Then, at some point, things start to click. You begin to think in the new language, and your progress seems to accelerate rapidly. But this sudden improvement is built on the foundation of all your previous study and practice. Recognizing this pattern is crucial for maintaining motivation and perseverance in the face of apparent lack of progress. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results from your efforts. But understanding that you're building potential energy, that your work is accumulating even if the results aren't yet visible, can help you push through the valley of disappointment. This concept is beautifully illustrated by the quote often attributed to Jacob Riis, which has been embraced by successful individuals and teams across various fields. When nothing seems to help, I go and look at a stonecutter hammering away at his rock, perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet at the 101st blow it will split in two, and I know it was not that last blow that did it, but all that had gone before. This perspective shift can be transformative. Instead of focusing solely on immediate results, you learn to trust in the process. You understand that the work you're doing today, even if it doesn't seem to be yielding results, is setting the stage for future breakthroughs. It's like planting seeds. You don't see the plant the day after you put the seed in the ground, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Moreover, this understanding can help you approach your goals with more patience and consistency. If you know that progress often involves a plateau before a breakthrough, you're less likely to get discouraged during that plateau phase. You can remind yourself that this is a normal part of the process, not a sign of failure. It's also worth noting that this principle applies not just to individual efforts, but to larger scale changes as well. Societal shifts, scientific breakthroughs, and technological innovations often follow this pattern. Years or decades of work and small advancements suddenly culminate in a major leap forward that seems to come out of nowhere. In light of this, how should we approach our personal and professional development? First, we need to shift our focus from immediate results to consistent habits. Rather than obsessing over day-to-day changes, we should ask ourselves if our current habits are moving us in the right direction. Are we consistently taking actions that will compound positively over time? Second, we need to cultivate patience and persistence. Understanding that significant change often requires a long period of seemingly fruitless effort can help us stay the course when we're tempted to give up. We need to trust in the process and keep putting in the work even when we can't yet see the results. Third, we should pay attention to the small things. Given the compounding nature of habits, even tiny improvements or deteriorations can have significant long-term impacts. This means celebrating small victories and being vigilant about small negative habits that could compound into larger problems. Fourth, we need to be mindful of the different areas where compounding occurs. It's not just about finance or physical fitness. Our mental habits, our relationships, our knowledge, and our skills all compound over time. By taking a holistic view of our lives and habits, we can ensure we're setting ourselves up for positive compounding in all areas. Finally, we should remember that breakthroughs often come after a long plateau. When we're in the midst of that plateau, it's easy to feel like we're not making progress. But if we can maintain our efforts and push through, we may find ourselves on the cusp of a major breakthrough. In conclusion, the path to significant achievement and personal growth is rarely a straight line. It's a journey filled with plateaus, valleys of disappointment, and sudden breakthroughs. By understanding the compounding nature of habits and the delayed nature of progress, we can approach our goals with greater patience, persistence, and wisdom. We can learn to trust in the process, to keep putting in the work, even when we can't see immediate results, knowing that we're building potential for future breakthroughs. In doing so, we set ourselves up not just for short-term wins, but for long-term, sustainable success and fulfillment. In the pursuit of personal growth and achievement, we often find ourselves fixated on grand goals and ambitious outcomes. We dream of transformative changes, losing significant weight, building a successful business, or mastering a new skill. While these aspirations can be inspiring, they may not be the most effective way to create lasting change in our lives. Instead, the key to sustainable progress and meaningful improvement lies in the power of systems and habits. The journey of personal development is akin to nurturing a garden. Each habit we cultivate is like a seed, beginning as a tiny, seemingly insignificant decision. But as we consistently water and tend to these seeds, they grow roots, sprout, and eventually blossom into sturdy plants that can withstand the tests of time and adversity. Similarly, our habits, when nurtured consistently, become the foundation of our character and the drivers of our success. This process of growth is not always visible or linear. Much like a gardener who patiently tends to their plot without seeing immediate results, we too must persist in our efforts, even when progress seems slow or non-existent. This period of apparent stagnation is what we might call the plateau of latent potential, a phase where our consistent efforts are building up potential energy, even if we can't see the results yet. Breaking through this plateau requires a shift in our mindset and approach. Rather than focusing solely on end goals, we need to direct our attention to the systems and processes that lead to those results. This idea, popularized by figures like Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, challenges the conventional wisdom about goal setting and achievement. Consider a basketball coach aiming to win a championship. While the championship is the ultimate goal, obsessing over it during every practice and game would be counterproductive. Instead, the coach's focus should be on developing effective training routines, fostering team chemistry, and continuously improving strategies. By concentrating on these systemic elements, the team naturally moves closer to their championship aspirations. This systems-based approach offers several advantages over a purely goal-oriented mindset. Firstly, it acknowledges that winners and losers often share the same goals. Every Olympic athlete dreams of gold, every job candidate hopes to be hired. If goals alone determined success, everyone with the same objective would achieve it. Clearly, there's more to the equation. The British cycling team's remarkable transformation in the early 2000s illustrates this point perfectly. Their goal of winning the Tour de France hadn't changed over the years. What changed was their system, their commitment to marginal gains and continuous improvement in every aspect of cycling. It's this shift in approach, not a change in their ultimate goal, led to their unprecedented success. Moreover, achieving a goal is often just a momentary change, not a lasting transformation. Imagine tidying up a chronically messy room. The act of cleaning provides immediate satisfaction, but unless the underlying habits and systems change, the room will inevitably return to its cluttered state. This cycle of temporary improvement followed by regression is all too common when we focus solely on goals without addressing the root causes of our behaviors. Another limitation of goal-centric thinking is its tendency to restrict our happiness and satisfaction. When we tie our contentment to specific outcomes, we create an either-or scenario where we're only allowed to be happy once we've reached our target. This not only postpones our happiness, but also narrows our definition of success. Life rarely unfolds exactly as we plan, and by fixating on one particular version of success, we may miss out on equally valuable alternatives. A systems-first mentality offers a more sustainable path to satisfaction. When we learn to love the process rather than fixating on the product, we open ourselves up to a continuous stream of fulfillment. Every day that we engage with our system, be it writing, exercising, or learning, becomes an opportunity for satisfaction, regardless of the immediate outcome. Furthermore, goal-oriented thinking can create a yo-yo-yo effect in our efforts. Many people work intensely towards a goal, only to lose motivation once it's achieved. Runners train rigorously for a race, then stop exercising once they cross the finish line. This pattern of intense effort followed by inactivity can be counterproductive to long-term progress and well-being. In contrast, a systems approach encourages consistent engagement and continuous improvement. It's not about winning a single game, but about playing the game indefinitely and getting better with each iteration. This mindset aligns perfectly with the concept of lifelong learning and growth, allowing us to derive satisfaction from the journey itself rather than just the destination. Implementing a systems-based approach requires a shift in how we think about change and improvement. Instead of setting ambitious goals and hoping for massive transformations, we need to focus on building robust systems of small, manageable habits. These atomic habits, as James Clear calls them, are the building blocks of significant change. The power of atomic habits lies in their compounding nature. Just as compound interest can turn small financial investments into substantial wealth over time, consistently practiced small habits can lead to remarkable personal growth and achievement. The key is to make these habits so small and manageable that they're almost impossible to skip. For instance, rather than setting a goal to get in shape, you might establish a system of exercising for just 5 minutes every day. This tiny commitment is easy to keep, and over time, it's likely to naturally expand as you build momentum and enjoy the process. The focus shifts from the intimidating end goal to the simple, daily action that moves you in the right direction. This approach also helps in breaking bad habits. Instead of trying to quit a negative behavior cold turkey, which often leads to failure and discouragement, you can create a system of small, positive habits that gradually replace the undesired behavior. For example, if you want to reduce your social media usage, you might start by setting a system where you read a page of a book before checking your phone each morning. The beauty of a systems-based approach is its flexibility and resilience. Unlike rigid goals that can be derailed by unexpected circumstances, systems can adapt and evolve. If one small habit isn't working, you can adjust it or replace it with another without feeling like you've failed. This adaptability makes your personal growth journey more sustainable and enjoyable. Moreover, focusing on systems allows for a more holistic approach to personal development. Instead of compartmentalizing different areas of your life, you can create interconnected systems that support overall growth. For example, a system of regular exercise might naturally lead to better eating habits, improved sleep, and increased productivity at work. It's important to note that adopting a systems-first mentality doesn't mean completely abandoning goals. Goals can still serve as useful North Stars, providing direction and inspiration. The key is to not let the goals overshadow the importance of the daily systems and habits that lead to their achievement. In practice, this might look like setting a broad, directional goal like improved physical fitness and then focusing intently on creating and maintaining systems that support that direction, like a daily exercise routine, a balanced meal plan, and a consistent sleep schedule. The goal provides context and motivation, while the systems drive actual progress. This approach also aligns well with the concept of process goals in psychology. Instead of focusing solely on outcome goals like lose 20 pounds, process goals emphasize the behaviors and actions within your control, like exercise for 30 minutes 5 times a week. By shifting focus to these controllable elements, you reduce stress and increase your sense of agency and accomplishment. Implementing a systems-based approach requires patience and persistence. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results, but remember the principle of the plateau of latent potential. Your consistent efforts are building up, even if the effects aren't immediately visible. Trust in the process and keep showing up for your systems day after day. It's also crucial to regularly review and refine your systems. What works today might not be as effective tomorrow as your circumstances and capabilities change. Treat your systems as living entities that need regular care and adjustment. This ongoing process of refinement ensures that your systems continue to serve you effectively over time. Another powerful aspect of systems thinking is its ability to compound across different areas of your life. As you build effective systems in one area, you'll likely find that the skills and mindset transfer to others. For instance, the discipline and consistency you develop through a regular exercise system might help you establish a productive work routine or improve your relationships through consistent communication habits. Furthermore, a systems approach can help mitigate the effects of willpower depletion. Relying on sheer willpower to achieve goals is often unsustainable, as willpower is a finite resource that gets depleted throughout the day. By establishing systems and habits, you reduce the need for constant decision-making and willpower exertion. Your positive behaviors become more automatic, making it easier to stay on track, even when you're tired or stressed. In conclusion, while goals can provide direction and motivation, it's the systems and habits we establish that truly drive long-term success and fulfillment. By shifting our focus from lofty objectives to manageable, consistent actions, we set ourselves up for sustainable growth and improvement. Remember, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Embracing this system's first mentality doesn't mean giving up on your dreams or ambitions. Rather, it's about recognizing that those dreams are realized through the cumulative effect of small, consistent actions over time. It's about falling in love with the process of becoming, rather than fixating on a specific end state. As you embark on your journey of personal growth and achievement, consider the systems you're building. Are your daily habits aligned with the person you want to become? Are you focusing on consistent, manageable actions rather than waiting for motivation to strike? By nurturing a garden of positive habits and robust systems, you create an environment where success can naturally flourish. In the end, life is less about the destinations we reach and more about the paths we walk. By focusing on systems, we ensure that every step of that journey is meaningful, regardless of where it ultimately leads. So start small, be consistent, trust the process, and watch as your atomic habits compound into remarkable transformations over time. The journey of personal transformation is often misunderstood. Many of us embark on this path with grand aspirations and lofty goals, yet find ourselves struggling to make lasting changes. We set ambitious targets, like losing weight, quitting smoking, or starting a successful business, but despite our best intentions, we often fall short. The reason for this common struggle lies not in our lack of desire or effort, but in our fundamental approach to change itself. At the heart of this issue is a profound truth: the power of habits. Habits are the invisible architecture of our daily lives, shaping our actions, decisions, and ultimately, our destinies. They are like the atoms of our existence, small, often unnoticed, yet incredibly potent when compounded over time. Just as atoms build molecules, and molecules form matter, our habits accumulate to create the substance of our lives. The concept of atomic habits encapsulates this idea perfectly. An atomic habit is not just any small routine, it's a fundamental unit of behavior that, when consistently applied, can lead to remarkable results. These habits are both minuscule and mighty easy to implement, yet capable of generating tremendous power over time. To truly grasp the transformative potential of habits, we must first understand the layers of behavior change. Imagine peeling an onion. Each layer represents a different level at which change can occur. The outermost layer is about changing outcomes. This is where most people focus their efforts, setting goals like lose 20 pounds or make $1 million. The middle layer involves changing processes, the systems and routines we use to achieve our goals. But the innermost, most crucial layer is about changing our identity, our beliefs, self-image, and fundamental view of who we are. Many of us make the mistake of focusing solely on the outer layer's outcomes and processes without addressing the core. We set outcome-based goals and try to change our habits without altering our underlying beliefs. This approach often leads to temporary changes at best and frustration and failure at worst. Consider two individuals trying to quit smoking. One says, "I'm trying to quit," while the other states, "I'm not a smoker." The difference may seem subtle, but it's profound. The first person still identifies as a smoker attempting change, while the second has already shifted their identity. This identity shift is the key to lasting transformation. The power of identity-based habits lies in their alignment with our deepest beliefs about ourselves. When we change our identity, our behaviors naturally follow suit. If you see yourself as an athlete, you're more likely to maintain a consistent exercise routine. If you identify as a writer, sitting down to write each day becomes an expression of who you are, not just something you do. This principle extends beyond individual habits to broader systems of behavior. In societies, organizations, and individuals alike, there's always an underlying set of beliefs shaping the visible actions. A democracy operates on fundamentally different beliefs than a dictatorship, and these beliefs determine what behaviors are possible or impossible within each system. The challenge, then, is to align our desired behaviors with our identity. This is why many attempts at change fail. We try to adopt new habits that are incongruent with our self-image. If you see yourself as someone who prioritizes comfort over growth, it will be an uphill battle to consistently push yourself in the gym or tackle challenging projects at work. The story of Brian Clark, an entrepreneur who struggled with nail biting, illustrates this principle. Clark managed to stop biting his nails through sheer willpower, but the real transformation came when he changed how he saw himself. Instead of just trying to stop a bad habit, he began to see himself as someone who cared about his appearance and health. This shift in identity made the new behavior not biting his nails feel natural and sustainable. This approach to change, focusing on identity rather than outcomes, has profound implications for how we pursue personal growth. Instead of asking, "What do I want to achieve?" we should be asking, "Who do I want to become?" This subtle shift can make all the difference in creating lasting change. For instance, rather than setting a goal to lose weight, one might focus on becoming a person who prioritizes health and fitness. This identity-based approach naturally leads to behaviors that support weight loss, but it goes beyond that. It creates a sustainable lifestyle change that persists even after the initial weight loss goal is achieved. The power of this approach lies in its ability to create a positive feedback loop. As we act in alignment with our new identity, we reinforce that identity, which in turn makes it easier to maintain the new behaviors. Over time, what started as a conscious effort becomes an automatic expression of who we are. However, changing our identity is not an overnight process. It requires consistent, small actions that gradually reshape our self-image. This is where the concept of atomic habits becomes crucial. By focusing on tiny, manageable changes that align with our desired identity, we can slowly but surely transform ourselves. For example, if you want to become a writer, start by writing just 50 words a day. This atomic habit is small enough to be achievable even on your busiest days, but consistent enough to begin reshaping your identity. Over time, you'll naturally find yourself writing more, not because you're forcing yourself to meet a word count goal, but because writing has become an integral part of who you are. This approach also helps in breaking bad habits. Instead of trying to quit a negative behavior through willpower alone, focus on cultivating an identity that's incompatible with that behavior. If you want to stop procrastinating, start seeing yourself as someone who takes immediate action. Small, consistent steps in this direction will gradually shift your self-image, making procrastination feel increasingly at odds with who you are. It's important to note that this process of identity change is not about denying your current reality or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about consciously choosing and nurturing the aspects of yourself that you want to grow. We all have multiple facets to our identity, and by deliberately focusing on and developing certain traits, we can shape our overall self-image in positive ways. The beauty of this approach is its flexibility and resilience. Unlike rigid outcome-based goals that can be derailed by setbacks, identity-based habits are more adaptable. If you see yourself as a healthy person, a single unhealthy meal doesn't negate that identity. Instead, it becomes an outlier, prompting you to return to behaviors that align with your self-image. Moreover, focusing on identity change can lead to more holistic personal growth. When you change how you see yourself in one area, it often has positive ripple effects in other areas of your life. For instance, developing the identity of a disciplined person in your fitness routine might naturally extend to increased discipline in your work or personal relationships. However, it's crucial to approach this process with patience and self-compassion. Changing deeply ingrained beliefs and habits takes time. There will be setbacks and moments of doubt. The key is to view these not as failures, but as part of the learning process, opportunities to reinforce your commitment to your new identity. It's also worth noting that while we focus on personal identity, our habits and beliefs are often influenced by our environment and social circles. Surrounding yourself with people who embody the traits you aspire to can significantly aid in your transformation. If you want to become more entrepreneurial, spending time with entrepreneurs can help shift your self-perception and reinforce behaviors aligned with that identity. As you embark on this journey of identity-based habit change, remember that the goal is not perfection, but progress. Each small action that aligns with your desired identity is a step in the right direction. Over time, these atomic habits compound, leading to significant personal transformation. In conclusion, the path to lasting change lies not in setting ambitious goals or relying on sheer willpower, but in reshaping our fundamental identity. By focusing on who we want to become, rather than just what we want to achieve, we set the stage for sustainable, meaningful change. Through the power of atomic habits, small, consistent actions aligned with our desired identity, we can gradually transform ourselves. This approach requires patience, self-reflection, and a willingness to challenge our existing beliefs about ourselves. But the rewards are immense. Not only do we achieve our desired outcomes, but we do so in a way that feels natural and sustainable. We don't just change what we do, we change who we are. As you reflect on your own goals and aspirations, consider shifting your focus from outcomes to identity. Ask yourself not just what you want to achieve, but who you need to become to achieve it. Then, identify the small atomic habits that will help you embody that identity. Remember, every great achievement, every personal transformation begins with a single small step. Your atomic habits are the building blocks of your future self. Choose them wisely, implement them consistently, and watch as they compound into remarkable results. The journey of personal transformation is a fascinating and complex process, one that often eludes even the most determined individuals. At the heart of this journey lies a profound truth: true behavior change is, at its core, identity change. This concept challenges our traditional notions of self-improvement and offers a powerful framework for achieving lasting personal growth. Consider the story of Brian Clark, an entrepreneur who struggled with nail biting for years. Like many of us, he initially approached the problem with sheer willpower, managing to stop the habit temporarily. However, the real transformation came when he took an unexpected step. He scheduled his first manicure. This simple act shifted his perspective entirely. Suddenly, Brian wasn't just trying to stop a bad habit, he was becoming someone who took pride in the appearance of his nails. This shift in identity made the change effortless and permanent. This anecdote illustrates a crucial point: the most potent form of motivation comes from aligning our actions with our sense of self. When a habit becomes part of your identity, it transcends the realm of things you want to do and enters the sphere of who you are. This transition from extrinsic to intrinsic motivation is the key to sustainable change. The power of identity-based habits is evident in various aspects of our lives. Think about someone who takes great pride in their physical fitness. They don't need to convince themselves to go to the gym. Working out is simply an expression of who they are. Similarly, a person who identifies as a voracious reader doesn't struggle to find time for books. Reading is an integral part of their identity. This principle extends beyond individual habits to broader life goals. Instead of focusing on reading a book, the aim becomes to embody the identity of a reader. Rather than running a marathon, the goal shifts to becoming a runner. Learning an instrument transforms into embracing the identity of a musician. This subtle but powerful shift in perspective changes everything. Our behaviors are typically a reflection of our identity, often operating at a subconscious level. Research has shown that people are more likely to act in ways that align with their self-perception. For instance, individuals who saw themselves as voters were more likely to participate in elections compared to those who merely expressed a desire to vote. This alignment between identity and action creates a self-reinforcing cycle, making the desired behavior feel natural and effortless. However, it's important to recognize that identity can be a double-edged sword. While it can be a powerful force for positive change, it can also become a barrier to growth if we become too rigidly attached to certain self-perceptions. Many of us unknowingly limit ourselves with self-imposed labels. I'm not a morning person, I'm bad with technology, or I'm always late. These identity-based limitations can become self-fulfilling prophecies, hindering our ability to change and grow. The challenge, then, is to cultivate a flexible and evolving sense of identity that promotes growth rather than stagnation. This requires a willingness to question our long-held beliefs about ourselves and to embrace new possibilities. It's about recognizing that our identity is not fixed but fluid, capable of expanding and adapting as we accumulate new experiences and habits. But how exactly is our identity formed, and how can we actively shape it to support our desired changes? The process is both simpler and more profound than many realize. Our identity emerges from our habits. We are not born with preset beliefs about ourselves. Every aspect of our self-image is learned and conditioned through experience. This understanding leads to a powerful realization: we can deliberately shape our identity through our habits. Each time we make our bed, we reinforce the identity of an organized person. Every time we sit down to write, we strengthen our identity as a creative individual. With each workout, we embody the identity of someone committed to fitness. The key lies in the repetition. The word identity itself comes from Latin roots meaning repeated beingness. Our identity is quite literally the sum of our repeated actions. The more we repeat a behavior, the more evidence we accumulate for the associated identity. This evidence forms the foundation of our beliefs about ourselves. Consider how this plays out in real life. A person who attends church every Sunday for years has tangible proof of their religious identity. Someone who studies consistently builds evidence of their scholarly nature. The individual who exercises regularly, even in challenging conditions, reinforces their identity as a dedicated fitness enthusiast. This process of identity formation through habit is gradual and cumulative. We don't suddenly transform into entirely new people overnight. Instead, we evolve bit by bit, day by day, habit by habit. Each action we take is like a vote for the type of person we wish to become. Over time, these votes accumulate, shaping our self-image and, consequently, our future actions. Understanding this process gives us a powerful tool for personal transformation. Instead of focusing solely on outcomes, we can concentrate on building habits that align with our desired identity. Want to become more creative? Start with small, consistent creative practices. Aspire to be more health conscious. Begin with minor daily habits that reflect this identity. The beauty of this approach is its sustainability. When our actions align with our identity, they no longer feel like a chore or a struggle. They become a natural expression of who we are. This alignment creates a positive feedback loop. Our habits reinforce our identity, which in turn makes it easier to maintain those habits. However, it's crucial to approach this process with flexibility and self-compassion. Our identity should not become a rigid construct that limits our growth. Instead, it should be a dynamic, evolving aspect of ourselves that we continually refine and expand. This means being willing to challenge our existing beliefs about ourselves and to embrace new possibilities. For instance, someone who has always seen themselves as bad at math can begin to shift this identity by engaging in small, consistent math-related activities. Over time, as they accumulate evidence of their ability to engage with numbers, their self-perception can evolve. The key is to start small and focus on consistency rather than perfection. This approach to personal growth also highlights the importance of environment and social circles in shaping our identity. We are greatly influenced by the people and situations we regularly encounter. Surrounding ourselves with individuals who embody the traits we aspire to can significantly aid in our transformation. If you want to become more entrepreneurial, spending time with entrepreneurs can help shift your self-perception and reinforce behaviors aligned with that identity. Moreover, this understanding of identity formation can be applied to breaking negative habits. Instead of focusing on stopping an unwanted behavior, we can concentrate on cultivating an identity that is incompatible with that behavior. For example, rather than trying to quit smoking through willpower alone, one might focus on developing the identity of a health-conscious person who values clean air and physical well-being. It's important to note that this process of identity change through habit formation is not always linear or easy. There will be setbacks and moments of doubt. The key is to view these not as failures, but as part of the learning process, opportunities to reinforce our commitment to our new identity. Each time we choose to act in alignment with our desired identity, even after a setback, we strengthen our new self-image. As we embark on this journey of identity-based habit change, it's helpful to regularly reflect on our progress and adjust our approach as needed. This might involve journaling about our experiences, seeking feedback from trusted friends or mentors, or periodically reassessing our goals and the habits we're cultivating to support them. It's also worth considering how this approach to personal change can impact broader social change. As individuals reshape their identities and behaviors, they can influence their immediate social circles and, by extension, larger communities. This ripple effect of personal transformation can contribute to more significant societal shifts over time. In conclusion, the path to lasting personal change lies not in setting ambitious goals or relying on fleeting motivation, but in reshaping our fundamental identity through consistent, identity-aligned habits. By focusing on who we want to become, rather than just what we want to achieve, we set the stage for sustainable, meaningful transformation. This approach requires patience, self-reflection, and a willingness to challenge our existing beliefs about ourselves. But the rewards are immense. Not only do we achieve our desired outcomes, but we do so in a way that feels natural and sustainable. We don't just change what we do, we change who we are. As you reflect on your own goals and aspirations, consider shifting your focus from outcomes to identity. Ask yourself not just what you want to achieve, but who you need to become to achieve it. Then, identify the small, consistent habits that will help you embody that identity. Remember, every great achievement, every personal transformation begins with a single small step. Your habits are the building blocks of your future self. Choose them wisely, implement them consistently, and watch as they compound into remarkable results, shaping not just your actions, but your very identity. The journey of personal growth and habit formation is a fascinating exploration of human behavior and psychology. At its core, this journey begins with a crucial first step: awareness. We often go through life on autopilot, our actions guided by deeply ingrained habits that operate below the level of conscious thought. However, to truly transform our lives and build positive habits, we must first shine a light on these automatic behaviors. One powerful technique for increasing awareness is the simple act of verbalizing our actions and intentions. There's a profound difference between thinking about doing something and actually saying it out loud. When we vocalize our habits or plans, we engage more of our senses and create a stronger mental imprint. This verbalization can take many forms, from simply stating a task we need to complete to acknowledging a habit we want to change. For instance, imagine you're trying to break the habit of mindlessly scrolling through social media before bed. Instead of silently recognizing this behavior, try saying out loud, "I'm about to waste time on my phone instead of getting restful sleep." This verbal acknowledgement makes the consequences of the action more tangible and real. It's harder to ignore the implications when they're hanging in the air, spoken in your own voice. This principle extends beyond breaking bad habits. It's equally effective for reinforcing positive behaviors or simply remembering important tasks. If you have a busy day ahead, try verbalizing your to-do list in the morning. Today, I need to finish the report by noon, call the client at 2 p.m., and pick up groceries on the way home by saying these tasks aloud. You're more likely to remember them and feel a stronger sense of commitment to completing them. The power of verbalization is rooted in the way our brains process information. When we only think about something, we're primarily using the language centers of our brain. But when we speak, we engage additional neural pathways, including those associated with hearing and the motor control of speech. This multisensory engagement creates a stronger memory trace and a more robust commitment to action. However, awareness alone, while crucial, is often not enough to effect lasting change. This is where the concept of implementation intentions comes into play. An implementation intention is essentially a specific plan that outlines when and where you will perform a particular action or habit. It's a simple yet powerful tool that bridges the gap between intention and action. Consider a study conducted in Great Britain, where researchers worked with 248 people to improve their exercise habits. The participants were divided into 3 groups. The first group simply tracked their workouts, while the second group received motivational material about the benefits of exercise. The third group, however, was asked to create a specific plan for when and where they would exercise in the coming week. The results were striking. In the first 2 groups, only about 35 to 38% of participants exercised at least once per week. But in the third group, a whopping 91% followed through with their exercise plans. This dramatic difference highlights the power of having a concrete plan in place. The formula for an implementation intention is straightforward. When situation X arises, I will perform response Y. This simple structure forces you to consider the specific circumstances under which you'll carry out your intended behavior. It eliminates the vagueness that often plagues our good intentions and replaces it with a clear, actionable plan. For example, instead of saying, "I want to read more," you might create an implementation intention like, "When I finish dinner each evening, I will read for 30 minutes in my favorite armchair." This specificity makes it much more likely that you'll follow through, as you've clearly defined both the trigger finishing dinner and the action reading for 30 minutes in a specific location. Implementation intentions are effective across a wide range of behaviors and goals. They've been shown to increase adherence to health-related behaviors like getting flu shots or attending medical appointments. They've also been used successfully in civic engagement initiatives, boosting voter turnout by prompting people to plan the specifics of their trip to the polling station. The power of implementation intentions lies in their ability to remove decision-making from the equation when the moment to act arrives. When you've predetermined exactly when and where you'll perform a behavior, you don't have to rely on motivation or willpower in the moment. You simply follow through on the plan you've already made. This principle can be applied to virtually any habit or goal you want to pursue. Want to start a meditation practice? Try setting an implementation intention like, "I will meditate for 10 minutes at 7 a.m. each morning in my spare room." Looking to improve your language skills? Your intention might be, "I will practice Spanish for 20 minutes at 6 p.m. each evening at my desk." The key is to be as specific as possible about the time, location, and nature of the action you intend to take. This specificity serves 2 important purposes. First, it makes the action concrete and therefore more likely to be carried out. Second, it helps to anchor the new habit to existing routines or environmental cues, making it easier to remember and integrate into your daily life. It's worth noting that the most effective cues for habits are often tied to time and location. Our brains are particularly adept at forming associations with specific times and places. By leveraging these natural tendencies, we can create powerful triggers for our desired behaviors. When implementing this strategy, it can be helpful to start with small, manageable actions. While it's admirable to have big goals, trying to make dramatic changes all at once can be overwhelming and unsustainable. Instead, focus on creating implementation intentions for small habits that you can consistently perform. Over time, these small actions can compound into significant changes. Another powerful technique that builds on the concept of implementation intentions is habit stacking. This approach, popularized by B.J. Fogg, involves linking a new habit to an existing one. The formula for habit stacking is after current habit, I will new habit. For example, if you already have a habit of brewing coffee every morning, you might stack a new habit onto it. After I start the coffee maker, I will do 10 push-ups, or after I brush my teeth, I will write down 3 things I'm grateful for. By anchoring the new behavior to an established routine, you increase the likelihood of remembering to do it and create a natural flow from one action to the next. Habit stacking can be particularly effective because it doesn't require you to create entirely new routines. Instead, it allows you to build upon the habits and patterns already ingrained in your daily life. This makes the process of adopting new behaviors feel more natural and less disruptive. As you experiment with implementation intentions and habit stacking, it's important to remain flexible and patient. What works perfectly for one person might need adjustment for another. Pay attention to how your new habits fit into your life and be willing to make tweaks as needed. Perhaps you find that morning meditation doesn't work with your schedule, but a midday mindfulness break fits perfectly. The key is to find what works for you and your unique circumstances. It's also crucial to recognize that forming new habits takes time. While implementation intentions can significantly increase your chances of success, they're not magic. Consistency and repetition are still necessary to truly ingrain a new behavior. Be patient with yourself and celebrate the small victories along the way. One often overlooked aspect of habit formation is the importance of context. Our behaviors are heavily influenced by our environment, so it's worth considering how you can set up your surroundings to support your new habits. If you're trying to read more, keep a book visible in your living room. If you want to exercise in the morning, lay out your workout clothes the night before. These small environmental cues can serve as powerful reminders and make it easier to follow through on your intentions. As you progress on your journey of habit formation, you may find that your new behaviors start to feel more natural and automatic. This is a sign that the habit is becoming ingrained. However, it's important not to become complacent. Continue to use implementation intentions and habit stacking to reinforce your positive behaviors and to tackle new goals. Remember, the process of personal growth and habit formation is ongoing. There will always be new skills to learn, new habits to form, and new goals to pursue. By mastering the art of implementation intentions and habit stacking, you're equipping yourself with powerful tools that can serve you throughout your life. In conclusion, the path to lasting behavior change begins with awareness and is paved with specific, actionable plans. By verbalizing our intentions, creating clear implementation intentions, and strategically stacking new habits onto existing ones, we can dramatically increase our chances of success. These techniques leverage our brain's natural tendencies and help us overcome the gap between intention and action. As you move forward, consider the habits you want to form or the goals you want to achieve. How can you create specific implementation intentions for these aspirations? What existing habits can you use as anchors for new behaviors? By applying these principles consistently and patiently, you can gradually reshape your daily routines and, by extension, your life. Remember, every great achievement starts with a single, well-planned step. Your journey to a better you begins now, with the next habit you choose to implement. The power of habits and their interconnectedness in our daily lives is a fascinating subject that deserves deep exploration. Let's delve into how our possessions and behaviors can trigger chains of actions, and how we can harness this phenomenon to build positive habits. Consider the story of Denis Diderot, the 18th century French philosopher. Upon receiving a beautiful scarlet robe as a gift, Diderot found himself in an unexpected predicament. The robe's elegance stood in stark contrast to his other, more modest possessions. This disparity created a sense of disharmony in his surroundings, leading Diderot to embark on a spending spree to upgrade his belongings. This cascade of purchases, triggered by a single item, illustrates a common human tendency now known as the Diderot effect. It's a pattern we can observe in various aspects of our lives. Think about the last time you bought a new piece of clothing. Did you find yourself suddenly eyeing accessories to match? Or perhaps you've experienced the domino effect of home decorating, where changing one element leads to a complete room makeover. The Diderot effect extends beyond material possessions. It's a principle that applies to our behaviors and habits as well. Our actions are rarely isolated instead. They form part of a continuous chain of events. One behavior naturally leads to another, creating a sequence that can either work for or against us. This interconnectedness of actions is evident in our daily routines. Consider your morning ritual. The alarm goes off. You get out of bed, brush your teeth, shower, get dressed, and so on. Each action serves as a cue for the next, creating a seamless flow of behaviors. Understanding this connection is crucial because it provides insight into how we can effectively build new habits. The concept of habit stacking, developed by B.J. Fogg as part of his Tiny Habits program, leverages this behavioral chain reaction. The idea is simple yet powerful: attach a new habit to an existing one. By doing so, you create a natural trigger for the new behavior, increasing the likelihood of its successful integration into your routine. The formula for habit stacking is straightforward. After current habit, I will new habit. This approach eliminates the need to rely on willpower or memory alone to implement a new habit. Instead, you're piggybacking on an established behavior, making the new habit feel like a natural extension of your existing routine. Let's explore some practical applications of habit stacking. Suppose you want to incorporate a brief meditation practice into your day. You might decide, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. The act of pouring coffee, something you already do every day, becomes the cue for your new meditation habit. Or consider the goal of increasing physical activity. You could establish the habit stack: after I take off my work shoes, I will immediately change into my workout clothes. This simple act of changing clothes can serve as a powerful trigger to get you moving, even on days when motivation is low. The beauty of habit stacking lies in its flexibility and scalability. You can start with small, manageable habits and gradually build more complex routines. For instance, you might begin with a simple evening routine. After dinner, I will put my dishes in the dishwasher. Once this becomes automatic, you can expand it. After putting my dishes away, I will wipe down the kitchen counter, and further, after wiping the counter, I will set out my coffee mug for tomorrow morning. By chaining these small actions together, you create a positive version of the Diderot effect. Each completed task provides a sense of accomplishment and momentum, making it easier to move on to the next action in your stack. It's important to note that the effectiveness of habit stacking depends on choosing the right cue. The trigger should be as specific and actionable as possible. Vague cues can lead to inconsistency and eventually the abandonment of the new habit. For example, when I take a break for lunch is less effective than when I close my laptop for lunch. The latter provides a clear, unmistakable signal to initiate the next action. Moreover, the frequency of your chosen cue should match the desired frequency of your new habit. If you want to establish a daily habit, it needs to be stacked on top of another daily occurrence. Attaching a daily habit to a weekly event is a recipe for inconsistency. To identify potential habit stacks, it can be helpful to create a detailed list of your current daily habits and routines. This inventory serves as a map of your day, highlighting natural points where new habits can be inserted. Consider both actions you take, like brushing your teeth, and events that happen to you, like the sun setting. This comprehensive view of your day can reveal unexpected opportunities for habit formation. The power of habit stacking extends beyond personal development. It can be applied in various contexts, from improving social skills to managing finances. For instance, you might decide, when I walk into a party, I will introduce myself to someone I don't know yet. Or when I want to buy something over $100, I will wait 24 hours before purchasing. These habit stacks can help automate beneficial behaviors, reducing the mental effort required to make good choices. One particularly intriguing application of habit stacking is in cultivating mindfulness and improving mood. By associating brief moments of reflection or positivity with routine actions, you can significantly impact your overall well-being. For example, when the phone rings, I will take one deep breath and smile before answering. This simple stack can transform potentially stressful moments into opportunities for calm and positivity. It's worth noting that habit stacking isn't just about adding new behaviors. It can also be used to break undesirable habits. By identifying the cues that trigger negative habits, you can insert alternative, positive actions. This approach allows you to redirect the chain of behaviors in a more beneficial direction. As you experiment with habit stacking, remember that flexibility and patience are key. What works for one person may not work for another, and what works at one point in your life may need adjustment as circumstances change. Be willing to tweak your habit stacks if they're not quite clicking. The goal is to create a system that feels natural and sustainable for you. Moreover, don't underestimate the power of small habits. While it might seem insignificant to meditate for just 1 minute or do only 10 push-ups, these small actions serve a crucial purpose. They help establish the neural pathways associated with the new behavior, making it easier to expand the habit over time. Starting small reduces the activation energy required to begin, making it more likely that you'll follow through consistently. Another interesting aspect of habit stacking is its potential to create a ripple effect in your life. As you successfully implement one positive habit, you may find yourself more motivated and capable of tackling other areas of self-improvement. This can lead to a virtuous cycle of personal growth, where each new habit builds upon the last, gradually transforming your daily routines and, by extension, your life. It's also worth considering how habit stacking can be applied in professional settings. Organizations can use this principle to improve workflows, enhance productivity, and foster a positive company culture. For instance, a team might implement a habit stack like, after our weekly meeting, we will spend 5 minutes acknowledging team members' contributions. This simple addition can boost morale and reinforce a culture of appreciation. As we navigate an increasingly complex world, the ability to form and maintain beneficial habits becomes ever more crucial. Habit stacking offers a powerful tool in this pursuit, allowing us to harness the natural flow of our daily lives to effect positive change. By understanding and applying this principle, we can transform the Diderot effect from a potential source of unnecessary consumption into a force for personal growth and improvement. In essence, habit stacking is about more than just forming new habits. It's about redesigning our lives in intentional ways. It's a reminder that our days are made up of countless small decisions and actions, each of which has the potential to steer us towards our goals. By carefully curating these actions and linking them together, we can create a daily experience that aligns more closely with our aspirations and values. As you move forward, consider the habits you'd like to cultivate in your own life. What existing routines could serve as anchors for these new behaviors? How might you chain several small habits together to create a more significant positive impact? Remember, the journey of personal growth is ongoing, and habit stacking provides a flexible, powerful framework to support this journey. By embracing the interconnected nature of our behaviors and leveraging it through habit stacking, we open up new possibilities for self-improvement. Whether your goal is to boost productivity, enhance well-being, or simply bring more intentionality to your daily life, this approach offers a practical, accessible path forward. So why not start today? Choose one small habit you'd like to cultivate, find a suitable existing routine to stack it on, and take that first step towards positive change. After all, as the Diderot effect shows us, one small change can set in motion a far-reaching transformation. In the realm of personal development and behavior change, we often place a great deal of emphasis on willpower and motivation. We believe that if we can just muster enough inner strength or find the right source of inspiration, we'll be able to transform our habits and achieve our goals. However, emerging research and real-world experiments are beginning to paint a different picture, one where our environment plays a far more significant role in shaping our actions than we might have previously thought. Consider the case of Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston, where a primary care physician named Anne Thorndike conducted a fascinating experiment. Her hypothesis was simple yet revolutionary. She believed she could improve the eating habits of thousands of hospital staff and visitors without directly engaging with them or attempting to boost their motivation. Instead, she focused on altering the environment in which people made their food and drink choices. Thorndike and her team redesigned the hospital cafeteria, making subtle changes to the arrangement of food and drinks. They added water as an option in refrigerators that previously only contained soda, and placed baskets of bottled water near food stations throughout the room. The results were striking. Over a 3-month period, soda sales dropped by 11.4%, while bottled water sales increased by 25.8%. Similar adjustments to food placement yielded comparable results. What's particularly noteworthy about this experiment is that it achieved significant behavior change without any direct communication or motivational tactics. People's choices were influenced simply by the adjustment of their environment. This phenomenon highlights a crucial principle in behavior science. Our actions are often shaped more by our surroundings than by our internal drive or conscious decision-making. This concept isn't entirely new. Back in 1936, psychologist Kurt Lewin proposed a simple yet powerful equation: behavior is a function of the person in their environment, or BFPE. This formula suggests that our actions are not solely determined by our personality or intentions, but are significantly influenced by the context in which we find ourselves. The business world was quick to catch on to this idea. In 1952, economist Hawkins Stern described what he called suggestion impulse buying, where a shopper purchases a product not because they had a pre-existing need for it, but because of how it was presented to them. This insight has shaped retail strategies for decades. Items placed at eye level in stores tend to sell better than those on lower shelves. Expensive brands are often positioned in easy-to-reach locations, while cheaper alternatives are tucked away. End-of-aisle displays, known as end caps, are particularly effective at driving sales. For instance, a staggering 45% of Coca-Cola sales come from these strategic placements. The power of environmental cues extends far beyond retail settings. Our behavior in various contexts is often shaped by subtle environmental factors. In a church, people tend to speak in hushed tones without being explicitly told to do so. On a dark street, we become more alert and cautious. These behavioral shifts occur almost automatically in response to our surroundings. Understanding this principle can be transformative in our approach to habit formation and personal growth. Instead of relying solely on willpower or motivation, we can leverage our environment to support our desired behaviors. This approach is not only more effective, but often requires less conscious effort. Consider how this might apply to common goals like reading more or eating healthier. Rather than simply willing ourselves to read more, we might place books in prominent locations around our home, making them the easiest entertainment option to reach for. Instead of trying to resist unhealthy snacks through sheer willpower, we could remove them from our immediate environment and ensure that healthier options are readily available. The concept of environmental design for behavior change is particularly powerful because of how our brains process information from our surroundings. Humans are heavily reliant on visual cues. Of the approximately 11 million sensory receptors in the human body, about 10 million are dedicated to sight. Some experts estimate that half of the brain's resources are used on vision. This means that what we see in our environment has an outsized impact on our behavior. Given this, it's crucial to create environments that support our goals and desired habits. This might involve setting up a dedicated workspace for productivity, organizing our kitchen to make healthy cooking easier, or even using visual reminders for important tasks or habits we want to cultivate. The good news is that while we are influenced by our environment, we also have the power to shape it. We can be the architects of our surroundings, deliberately designing them to support our goals and desired behavior.